was born and raised in Brisbane, so I'm one of those unusual doctors who was raised in the city and just liked the country anyway. Growing up, I had a sister who was 4 years younger than me with cerebral palsy. So we spent a lot of time at the Children's Hospital in Brisbane, and I played in the corner of the outpatient department and watched the nurses come and go, and I went to the hospital creche. And we had a lot of visits to our family doctor, who I thought was an amazing guy. And through all of those experiences, when I was casting around at high school for something that I might want to be, it occurred to me that maybe I could do medicine. The first few years working as a doctor are always interesting. I worked in a really big hospital at Logan, which was fascinating and interesting and busy and a really good training ground for somebody who wanted to end up doing a generalist job in the country. So in my second year out, they sent me to Goondiwindi, and it was a lottery. I had no choice. I just opened an envelope one day and they said, "Congratulations, you'll be working in Goondiwindi next year." So I looked it up on the map because I had never been there, and I packed up my little car and drove out there for the year. And at the end of that year, I thought, wow, that was not at all what I was expecting. It was more difficult than I had anticipated, and could have been so much better if I had the skills to do it properly. So how about I go back to Brisbane and focus on getting those skills, because maybe one day I want to go back and be a doctor in the country. So I went back to Brisbane and I did a lot more of the jobs that would give me those skills, including a diploma of obstetrics. And then my husband and I signed on for GP training and went to Toowoomba. We decided, while we're still young and fancy free, let's take 18 months off and do some travelling. So we went overseas and we travelled and cycled and visited a lot of fascinating places. We ended up working for MSF in Sri Lanka in the Civil War. We didn't have much opportunity to organise our next job. We had 1 week off where we could actually get to a telephone that worked. So I rang the Goondiwindi GPs and said, "Matt and I need a job for 6 months starting in January, both of us, any chance?" And they said, "Sure, when you get here." And we'd been there about 3 weeks when they started talking us into long-term life and work in Goondiwindi. 6 months turned into 21 years, and I can't see the end of that road yet. We're at a point now where we are 2 of the 5 doctors who run Goondiwindi Medical Centre. I'm the medical superintendent at the hospital, so I kind of run the medical team at the hospital as well. We're very embedded in that community, so it just seems to make sense to build on all of the kind of groundwork that we've done in the last 21 years in Goondiwindi. Outside of work, I have a lot of choice. So I have a lovely big garden, and I like spending time in the garden growing things. I'm also a beekeeper. So I have now 3 hives in town and 8 hives out of town on farm. Spend a lot of time with family as well. I come home from work to find them all in the river or cooking a barbecue on the fire pit, and I love it when the house is full of noise. I was RDAQ president for a year, and at the end of that time, the RDAQ Foundation, as it was then known, was being formed. We have grown now to quite a diverse board with different skill sets, and we're certainly not all doctors, and I think that's actually really valuable for the foundation. But it's also valuable to have some doctor members who understand where it came from and what its original intentions were to carry that corporate knowledge through into what the foundation's working on now. What I'm hoping for the foundation is that all of that groundwork and all of that faith and belief in what's possible will turn into a foundation that can continue to do more and more good works in small rural communities.